Hi everyone, how are you? It is me, Fern. Welcome to a new video. In this video, I thought it would be good to go over my YouTube setup and how I edit and film and put together a YouTube video and take it from an idea all the way to a final product that I can upload onto my channel for you to watch and enjoy. I'll start off by saying that I think of myself as very early on in my YouTube journey and I'm still very much a beginner, but I do enjoy making YouTube videos and talking about topics and editing vlogs that I'm passionate about and sharing that enjoyment with you, and I really appreciate the lovely comments. I just want to say a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart to people that tune in and enjoy the stuff that I put out. At the end of the day though, I just genuinely really love making content and videos on the topics that I love. So whether my setup is simple or very professional with professional equipment, I think the core idea of just putting out videos on topics that I enjoy is just something that brings me a lot of fulfillment. A lot of my setup is quite simple. I use a lot of my everyday devices to film and edit my content, but I thought it would be fun to share my YouTube process and what I use and how I edit and, incorporate into my workflow to get a video up and running. Before we begin, make sure to pause here and grab a beverage, whether that's a tea or a coffee, or maybe grab some snacks, and let's sit down, have a discussion, and enjoy the rest of the video. So let's start off with the initial creation of the videos on my channel. So obviously with the filming of my content, I do a lot of it. In fact, the majority of my filming on my phone. So I use a iPhone 11 Pro Max. I know it's a bit of an older phone, but it really works for me. I really like the quality of the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the phone works really well for me. I would show you the phone, but I am recording on it right now. And I use my iPhone because it's quite easy, and in terms of settings and setting up the video, it just works really well for me. I like to keep my workflow as simple and streamlined as possible, so I do use the iPhone. A lot of my accessories which I use to film, so like the tripod, they're all compatible with a smartphone. So I find that recording on an iPhone works really well for me. Sometimes when I want to record other things, or if I want to record at my phone, I will use a camera, and the camera that I use is the Sony RX100 Mark II. So it's a bit of an older model, but again, this camera works really well for me just to capture secondary footage. I used to use this camera back when I was in college for a lot of my media classes, and now it's just good to have a secondary recording device. But the reason why I mainly use my iPhone is because I carry my phone around every day anyway, and to be able to quickly pull it out and start recording is really convenient. I also use my iPhone because I do a lot of vlogging, and for those of you that watch my content know that I do a lot of videos in this sort of sit down talking to the screen style where I talk about things like fashion or real estate or finance, but I also do a few vlogs as well, and with the vlogs it's really convenient and easy to just pull out my phone and start recording. And that's what I really like about using the iPhone. Who knows, I might potentially upgrade it in the future, but for the time being, I really love my iPhone 11 Pro Max, and the quality is good enough for me for my current channel. So once I've recorded footage on my iPhone or with my camera, I edit using my trusty iPad. So I have an iPad Air, and I also got the Apple Pencil to go with it as well, and editing on this is such a dream. So I used to edit on my PC, and that was okay, but I found that transferring files from my phone or from my camera onto the PC to just be a tiny bit cumbersome. Whereas with the iPad, I can just airdrop the files from my iPhone onto the iPad and just start editing. I also don't really use a lot of fancy editing software when it comes to creating my video content. A lot of what I edit is done on things like iMovie and CapCut. So as you can see on my iPad, I mainly specifically use iMovie and CapCut to edit everything, and it works for what I've got on my channel. I also find that editing on CapCut, I get a lot of the basic core editing features that I would mainly need for my video content. So, for example, on CapCut, everything is just laid out in that sort of like, you know, your regular timeline style format, and I can just edit all my videos here. And the thing is with the iPad as well, it's smooth, it's powerful enough to edit all of my videos. If I have a few files on here that I'm editing, the workflow isn't hindered by a device that's slow. Like the iPad, I find, and mine's an iPad Air 4th generation, so it's not the current generation, but it just works really well and I can still edit. Everything's very smooth. It just works really well for me. Also, when I do edit, I think people assume that I just sit down at my desk and I'm recording and editing and doing everything in like one spot. But some days I will take my iPad out and I'll go to a cafe and edit from there, or I'll be out and about, or if I'm on a road trip or if I'm traveling on a plane, I will take this everywhere with me and just edit my YouTube videos. The one thing that I would recommend if you are looking at doing something similar to me and having all of your video editing workflows on like a portable device is that if you get an iPad, get one with a bit more storage. So when I got mine, I got the 64 gigabyte version, and I think at the time I just wanted a nice mid-tier iPad that could do the job, and I thought, you know, 64 gigs is enough. I'll buy a hard drive with it and transfer files over. But 64 gigs is probably the bare minimum to edit a few videos at a time. But if you want to have multiple videos running and editing, I would really recommend going for an iPad with a little bit more storage. But I find that the iPad Air works really well, and having my voiceovers and video files and everything all on here, it doesn't slow down. Like this device, I love it so much. Highly recommend an iPad if you are looking at editing a video in a portable way. Once I've edited everything on my iPad, I do upload from my laptop though, so it goes from an iOS device to a Windows PC. To transfer files over from the iPad to the PC, I use a LaCie hard drive, and that hard drive is fantastic because it's compatible with iOS devices, so I can plug it into my iPad and then transfer things over onto my laptop PC. I also do voiceovers on some of my videos, so for those of you that watch my vlogs will know that some of them include voiceovers, and to do the voiceovers, I record those using an Audio-Technica microphone, which I got years ago, and I think I got that around the same time as I got my camera, and that was for my media class. And I am so glad I invested in those two pieces of equipment because I've used them for years and they're still perfect now. I usually record all of my voiceovers on my microphone, and I use Audacity to record that. I'll usually record it on Audacity and remove the background noise, and then transfer it onto my LaCie hard drive and then plug it into my iPad to then overlay the voiceover on top of my YouTube videos. So that's kind of how I do everything in terms of video production, video recording, editing, and then voiceovers as well, and it all goes into my little CapCut video editor. So that's just a rundown of how I edit and create my YouTube videos. I would be keen to hear what you use when you're editing your YouTube videos, especially for those of you that are YouTubers and upload on YouTube. Let me know down in the comments below what devices you use, what editing software, what works for you and your workflow. I'd be really keen to know. With my workflow, this just works really well for me, especially since I'm always out and about and running around. So to have a device that's portable that I can take around and edit works for me, and it doesn't need to be anything fancy. Just something simple that runs really well and efficiently works perfectly for me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something new about how I create my YouTube videos and how I create a final product that I get to upload. If you do enjoy this type of content, let me know down in the comments below, and if you're new to this channel, definitely check out my other videos, especially if you're interested in things like fashion, lifestyle, real estate, and finance. I've got other content on that, so definitely check out my other videos. If you're new as well and you're keen to see more, definitely hit subscribe, and I hope to see you in a future video. Bye!